Oh my gosh. Lord have mercy. All right, folks, so I was in Michigan for 2 months and had somebody else watching my garden here in Washington, and they're not a gardener, and they wouldn't have known that when there was a drought and extremely intense heat and sun that they should use some shade cloth or whatever. And of course I never thought to tell them that. So this is kind of what my garden is looking like right now. This is my medicinal herb garden that has some tomatoes in it that were volunteers. So I don't know the first thing about medicinal herbs. I know that this was calendula. Oh look, now that the air is cooled off and we're getting rain again, we're getting more. So I don't know if the calendula seeds do anything for us medicinally. I will have to check on the course that I took that got me thinking I should probably grow calendula and see if those seeds are helpful for anything. If so, I will harvest some for planting next year and some for medicine. And I know that these petals and stuff, they're considered medicinal. I am not a doctor. I am not an herbalist. I don't play one on YouTube. I am not giving medical advice. I'm just saying I took an herbal medicine class and it said calendula was good for you. Anyway, I got some mint here that has gone to seed, and wow, just a whole lot of stuff happening. My peppers didn't do a darn thing. No cayenne peppers at all. Not a single cayenne pepper. Oh, there's one right there. One cayenne pepper. Oh, 2. I got another cayenne pepper. Another one. 3. Oh, now that the weather has cooled off, we're starting to get cayenne peppers. So, it is the last day of August, 2023. And now that it's cooling off, my garden is growing again. Get out of the way of the bees. So, I harvested my potatoes yesterday. I'll show that in a little while. And harvested all of my potatoes out of here. All of the potatoes in this one were volunteers. I'll call them volunteers. They were left over from last year when my darling husband harvested and didn't get them all. My carrots, I haven't even checked on my carrots, but oh, I have a carrot. So this was a variety that it's only supposed to get about 6 inches long, but I mean, it got like the actual carrot part. I'm thinking that's about 2 inches long. So I will eat this though. I will absolutely eat this. And then these are asparagus, which I had transplanted in the spring into this planter because I learned that they needed deeper roots than I had available to me in the old planter. And this is my sweet potatoes, which got really badly scorched. And I kind of dug down in and saw that the sweet potatoes that are in there are smaller right now than this carrot. So they have a little ways to go. And let's see. Oh, these, I planted potatoes in here. Now the potatoes I planted in here were, they were leftovers from the previous year and had chitted. And so I was like, I'll go ahead and stuff those in. I did not buy seed for that. And it looks like people forgot they were there. See, Brock has a tomato plant. My husband has a tomato plant, which he has not tied up or anything. There's a beefsteak right there. And we've got a problem. There's a bee loving on me, and he's not a bee, he's a wasp. And wasps who love on me apparently make me very ill. So I have to go to the doctor and get an EpiPen. That's Brock's planter. He watered his. And my daughter-in-law watered my stuff for me as best she knew how, as best she could. I didn't really leave great instructions about how to keep things watered. We have loads and loads of marigolds, all grown from seed that I saved from last year. And I learned just yesterday reading an article about plants that repel mosquitoes. And one of those plants is marigolds. So I will be planting loads and loads of marigolds on my Michigan property when we go back. Brock has these amazing peppers. They stand straight up. They're black. And I don't know. I think they're supposed to be really hot, but I don't know. And then he's got some other kind of chilies over here. Let's see if I can get closer. So this garden was pretty much not attended to very well. But here's the thing that really makes me sad. When I left for Michigan, this planter was full of garlic. It was full. There was garlic everywhere, growing everywhere. And I can't swear this, but I heard that my husband ripped it all out because he thought it was a dead weed. So this is what I have left of my garlic. One dead stalk without even a root bulb. So this is that garlic that I thought my husband pulled out of the ground. I let it go through the winter and it is growing. Unfortunately, the complete bulbs were left in the ground. They were not separated, and so we have multiple things growing, and I'm really not sure what to do about this. Is it too late to get them out and divide them? It is second week of February. We're in Western Washington. I'll have to find out. So much for that. The strawberries got decimated, mostly. And yeah, so apparently the heat and the drought here in Western Washington was pretty bad this past summer while I was gone. And now let's see, Brock has, looks like he's got some lovely tomatoes. And I am given to understand that tomatoes kind of stop producing just like everything else when it gets too hot, even though they're a heat-loving plant. And so my daughter-in-law told me that my tomatoes had actually stopped growing down in the hoop house. And I took the cover off the hoop house before I left. It really wasn't doing us any good. Kept coming off. I need to find a new way to do that. But artichokes, love artichokes, and the darling husband loves them as a flower. What else? This is a fun one. This is my sage, and I have kept that sage alive for many years. Through no fault of my own, it's alive. But it got knocked over while I was in Michigan, and my daughter-in-law found another pot and repotted it. She said it was almost completely dead, and yet it is alive. So sage, very resilient plant. We're real big on the tomatoes here. I think because homesteaders are supposed to have tomatoes. I really think that's it. We do eat fresh, some. We need to learn to eat fresh more. This is the raspberries that I planted for my husband. You see, they got some weird, they grow weird. I think they were called like brandywine or something like that. And it took 2 years for them to take off. They finally took off, and he let almost all the raspberries just dry on their canes. But I've got like 4 different varieties of raspberries in here, and these things, we didn't know that you're supposed to cut them back, and so we didn't cut them back last year, and they just went absolute craziness. So all but that one variety have a second growth coming on, so he will have lots of raspberries. I'm kind of sad because I asked him to pick me a couple gallons of blackberries. We have wild blackberries here in Western Washington. They're an invasive species. And there's my doggies. My doggies want food. They're hungry. So I'm going to go in and feed them in about a second. I'm carrying their food. This is my corn. I planted corn. I planted, I think, 3 times as much as you see here, which is still not very much. I planted a lot of corn, and so little of it actually grew. I already knew that most of it wasn't going to grow before I left. But I have ears of corn. 1, 2, let's see, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. We get a meal. So here's the thing. I'm experimenting. I am learning how to grow stuff. And, oh, there's my daughter-in-law. Say hi.
Hi.
I'm learning how to grow stuff. Thank God we're not in a position right now where we have to rely on the food that I've grown to survive. But it's it's going to come to that point, I think. And let's turn this off and take this off. It's kind of hard to do stuff with one hand, and I'm still hobbling around because I have a sprained knee. Oh, get back, get back, get back, get back. My dogs like to run the neighborhood, and they're not good at coming back when I call them. Come on, boys. So we have to use the electric fence. That's jazzy. And this is Griswold. Say hi, Gris. Where's the other bowl? Here it is. When we do this, we kind of have to put the bowls up on their spool that my husband brought home for them to sit on. Ooh, boy. Looks like Mom needs to clean out your pen, huh? Aw. You want to say hello? You want to say hello? Get down, Grizz. Griswold, get down. Get down. You can't eat this yet. Alright. I'm hoping that when we can have livestock, we'll be able to start feeding them kind of a more meat diet instead of kibble. Because I know that this is not the best food for dogs. We also have to make sure that they're separated pretty well while they're eating. Otherwise, Jazzy gets annoyed. Don't you, Jazz? Yeah. Yeah, my sweet doggy. Mama's got to come clean out your pen. I've got a lot of work to do. All right. Yeah. Yep, got a lot of work to do. I like to put down straw underneath their poo because it makes it easier to clean it up. Makes it so that it doesn't soak into the dirt. And when we move, or right before we move, oh, you've got to see this. Can you see? Right before we move, we'll have to take the dog pen down, have fresh topsoil brought in, and then, oof, boy, my knee is really, really hurting. Oh my gosh. Lord have mercy. This is the first time I've been down here. I can't even begin. There are no words. So a lot of my tomatoes, it looks like, got blossom end rot. And I have plenty of Roma tomatoes. And I also have some beefsteak tomatoes. And this place is filled with spiders, and I'd rather not. But right there's some beefsteak tomatoes. There is a bee that thinks I'm lunch. It's like they can tell that they're going to make me sick, so they just really bother me a lot. There's some wheat. I think it's wheat anyway. Not 100% sure. But it grew out of some straw bales that I had stored in here over last winter. And seeds fell out of the straw bales and grew. These are my cucumber plants. So I had only planned on being gone for probably 4 weeks. Ended up gone 2 months. But there's my cucumber plants. Pretty much dead because the cucumbers have been allowed to ripen. Again, this is no blame to anybody. This is my garden, and I should have been back a lot sooner. I'm going to have a lot of work to do, but it can't be done today. Because right now, I have to finish this tour. And after this tour, I have to go get, something out of my car. And then I have to get in my other car. And, oh, here we go. We've got tomato plants that grew themselves. I did not plant this one. All right, you go away. You know, my phone case is pink and shiny. And so this bee really likes it. All right, and now we have more cucumbers that unusable. And I planted a whole bunch of sunflowers in here. Can you find the sunflowers? Because I can't. They never even grew. And that is the tour of my garden and what happened to it while I was gone. Hey, this is a neighbor's yard. This is wild blackberry. And all the blackberries are dried up now. Oh well. I guess no blackberry cobbler or blackberry pie for my honey. So it looks like part of my garden was just completely devastated. And another part of my garden, or other elements of my garden, have just bounced right back in spite of the drought that they went through and the extreme neglect. So I have to figure out some way to keep my garden watered for when I'm not going to be around, knowing that there will always be a house sitter, but not necessarily someone who can water my garden or knows how to tend to it. So we do have a timer that we can put on the water faucet, and we do have the drip hoses now in the tomato garden where the hoop house is. Now that hoop house is going away, but we'll still have a bed there for a while. So one more season, come to find out. So I'll be able to put a timer on that, but I'm still not sure what to do about the stock tank planters to make those handle the drought conditions or lack of watering or lack of rain. So if you have any ideas, please put them down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you found this video to be helpful or informative, or if you've just enjoyed watching it, please be sure to like and subscribe, ring your notification bell so that you can get more just like it.